In today's live stream video, I'm going to discuss with my guest his reselling business, including how he makes sure that he makes time for his family. He'll share his tips and strategies to help make us more successful and profitable resellers. Every Wednesday, I have a live stream, and I usually interview another reseller, and I have them share their tips, tricks, and techniques to help make us more knowledgeable and profitable resellers. If you're interested in reselling or you are a reseller, then you are in the right place. Going to pop in the chat and say hello to a few people. I know Randy, my moderator, was here earlier. Randy, I always appreciate you being here and helping me out. Lisa was in the chat earlier. Lisa, I believe you said you're going to watch the replay. You got some things to do. We all have things to do. So appreciate you always being here every week. And I appreciate your support. And Crystal, Rosie's Closet, fellow Las Vegasite, just like our guests. So also Mike Flipping Goodies. Mike, I appreciate you being here, buddy. And we're going to have you on again shortly. And we'll discuss a little bit more about Walmart, walmart.com. So anyway, as you guys can see, my guest is Sonny Las Vegas. So let me bring Sonny on, and I'll have him introduce himself. Hello, sir.
Hello. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. If anything, it's good weather here in Vegas. Can't complain about it.
Crazy weather here. I didn't tell you earlier in the pre-chat, but it's actually 80 degrees here. We're just outside of Philadelphia, so that's crazy for this time of year.
It's probably like mid-60s here right now.
So it's nicer in Vegas than it is in South Jersey.
It is. Yeah.
Got my hair running. Come on. I don't want to run my hair. Not even Easter yet. Anyway, like I said, I always tell my people that don't know you, basically, if you could just introduce yourself to the chat,
Okay.
A little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got involved in reselling, just a little introduction to yourself.
Yeah. Well, first of all, hello again, everybody. Thanks for coming in. Very much appreciate the time that you have to share with us, Adam and myself, from your busy schedules. I started reselling when I moved to Vegas from Hawaii. And at the time, I thought I was going to easily land a job with my resume and things that I've done in the past. And unfortunately, I could not land a job right away. So my wife, who ended up getting a job faster than I did, she was telling me about her coworkers and how they were reselling. And I had no idea what reselling was. I never heard of the concept. And when I asked more about it, she said, well, people go to thrift stores and buy stuff and they flip it. And more questions came up right there and then. So I asked her, what are thrift stores? Because where I'm from in Charlotte, Texas, south of San Antonio, about hour and a half, it's a population of 1,000. And that town is the only town. There's no towns connected to it. You got to drive 11 miles out past ranches to a town to get through that town to get a Walmart. And then that's not even close to San Antonio. And when my wife told me about the thrift stores, we were actually driving on the road here in Vegas, and she pointed over towards a Goodwill, somewhere in the middle of town. And I said, like that Goodwill? And she said, yeah, exactly like that. So we immediately went inside there. Within a few minutes, I ended up finding a little rust troll, and it said, happy 60th year anniversary. So the little wheels inside my broken noggin head were slowly crinkling the rust off. And I thought maybe these baby boomers or somebody of age is looking for this. And there's a birthday every day, hundreds, thousands of them. And that's how my mind works. So I bought it for around 69 cents. Within a day or two, it sold for around, I think, $19 to $24. And that's when the light bulb went off. I jumped on Yelp and saw that there was actually a closer Goodwill, a walking distance from me in Summerlin. And that's when it started rolling. But the whole point of me reselling started from financial issues that are just hard on relationships and even individuals by themselves. And I just saw an opportunity that could help me while I was looking for a job. And then from then until now, I started seeing that I was actually making more money from reselling than my actual job, and started looking at the time, what if I used the time reselling that I worked at a company, I could make even more than what I'm doing at the time. And a little things that's happened because of the pandemic, but I'm a full-time reseller and it's been 7 months. And that's kind of like a long story short of why I started reselling and where it started. It actually started with my wife telling me about it and running with it.
Now, did your wife have any kind of family members, or did she do any kind of thrifting, or did her family do any kind of thrifting back in the day?
As funny as it is, she does not like thrifting. She doesn't like going into it. She once in a while I could, treat her to some Cold Stone or some nice food, and then say, hey, you know what? Since we went here, I want to go to thrift store. And if it's on Wednesday, it's Senior Citizens Day, and my mother-in-law likes to go. So I try to sway my way into the opportunity. And sometimes it works. And then if anything, when she does go, she'll look around and then she'll look for holiday stuff, bargain shopping for gift wrappings and things for the holidays to where she could save money. And she likes more of that stuff, but not so much as reselling. It's more of things she could use for birthdays coming up or holidays, things like that.
Okay, so that just kind of popped in her head about reselling. I mean, she didn't have really had any experience reselling,
No, it was just her coworker that was telling her about it. And
okay, it was
like,
coworker, right? Okay.
Yeah, the coworker, and that's how it worked.
You know, I again, most of the people in this chat know me, and I mean, I share my story how how I got involved in reselling. My mother was a bargain hunter. Growing up, my dad had early onset Parkinson's, and I tell the people why I have this channel was everyone in my family is school teachers except for me, because when I went to college, like school teachers were making like next to nothing. So it's like I can't pay my bills, and my father, when he was healthy, was working summers too and working teaching full time. My mother's working full time. It's like I got to get a job where I can just work a regular job and make good money. So she would shop at like all Johnny. You guys will watch Johnny Cage Reseller. He calls it Clarence. So we would shop clearance. We like to call it here in South Jersey clearance. It's Clarence. Yeah. And we would shop. My mother would take me to Marshalls, and we would get. They didn't really have Rosses around here back in the day, and just Target and all those places. And we shop clearance. So she taught me the value of a bargain, and like 99% of my clothes were clearance. Yeah, it's like it's hard when you're a big guy to find clothes in your size and clearance. But so anyway, so that's kind of how I got involved in it. And then I ended up tearing my Achilles when I was working retail, trying to get back into management into the wine and liquor industry. And I'd worked some time in the grocery store chains. I was trying to get back into management or a buyer or something. I ended up tearing my Achilles, and I didn't realize I'd torn it. And I'm working on it. And finally, I just said I can't work anymore. And they wouldn't pay me workman's comp. So it's like, I got nothing coming in.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to do something. What can I do? Oh, I can resell. So I did like what everybody else does. They find YouTube, they find a couple of resellers. They do a Google search and they find out, who are the popular resellers, and they learn about reselling. So that's kind of what this channel was all about. I like to bring on other resellers and have them share their knowledge and their experience, and teach my viewers as well as myself, and maybe share some of their niches, and we can all share ideas and learn from each other. Exactly. So I'm very thankful that you're willing to come on, and like I said, I had several people recommend you and said you got to have Sonny on. He's a great reseller and a great guy, and bring him on your channel. He'll be great for the show. So I appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate the people who recommended me. I know you told me before it was Johnny,
Johnny,
right? Christian, the Rural Squirrel, and then Dan, Big Thrift Philly.
Big Thrift Philly, exactly.
Really good people, especially familiar names here in the chat as well. Thank y'all, because the numbers that I see, and I tell people this all the time, when you're growing, regardless if it's on YouTube or an entrepreneur, or you just have goals to go towards, there's going to be a point where you have to seek help. You have to learn from somebody else to get you over that hump. And I really hope that I provide something like that towards people, right, to see the truth within me, the obstacles that I face and bring up, and things that I'm working on. And I like to bring them up only because it's never a boohoo me moment. It's, hey, I'm doing this and I'm going through it, and it doesn't bother me as much as it used to when I was a kid. Everything was like me against the world. And now that I'm an adult, I think I'm somewhat mature as an adult, that it's kind of a different turn of, yes, things are happening, but I'm going to get through it. And I sure prove to myself more than anything. And people out there in the community, I get comments more than anything, more and more, of people just checking in on me. How am I doing? And I find that very, very nice. And it reminds me to do the same thing, for others. There's one I do want to send the prayers out to. Chosen Good Carissa. She was in the hospital this morning, early in the morning, 4 a.m, checking on me, how I'm doing. Right when
she was in the hospital, checking on you from the hospital.
Yeah, and it's just those kind of people, just like, it makes your eyes open and heart just want to burst. Like, wow, like, I'm not going through what you're going through, but for somebody to check on me, to go through what they're doing, I have to mean something to them as much as they mean to me. And I really do like that within the community. It's not perfect, and there's some people that I don't follow because of the attitudes, and it's too much negativity, that it's always a downer. And I need people that are each uplifting more than anything, either for themselves, because if I could see it in somebody being happy, I could be happy too. I just have to see it. I feed off of it. So
yeah, and again, you try to hang around like positive people and uplifting people. So that's why I loved having Christian on last week, and I love having you on because you guys are high energy, you're positive, and reselling it can be lonely. I mean, because some people say, "Oh, is that a real job? How do you make money reselling? You're just buying stuff at thrift stores." It's like, no. I mean, some people can do very, very well. I talk about
I've heard that from my wife a handful of times, but then I show her my eBay, like, yeah, somebody just bought like these pants that I got for $5 and they sold for say 50. And usually the comments are, somebody bought that, and I'm like, yeah. And there's other people who bought other stuff, but it's less and less of that. But that's only because I have to show proof of my growth as a reseller. I can't just, I'm going to be a reseller and it's not working out. And that's one thing I tell people too. If there ever comes a time where it doesn't work out for me and it's too hard on the relationship, that I have no problem going to get a job. I'll get a part-time job and see if that's enough, and try to build on eBay as a full-time reseller. And it's kind of the opposite now that eBay is my 9 to 5 per se. And if it comes down to it, I'll get a job and that'll be my side job. It's funny how things turn that way when you think of it.
Right. Well, we had talked pre-chat, and you said that eBay is predominantly your main platform.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk a little bit later about whatnot, but so eBay is. I think you told me you're pretty much exclusive on eBay.
Pretty much eBay. Yeah, and I just got accepted at Whatnot, but I do sell stuff very rarely on Facebook Marketplace. I actually just sold some bikes day before yesterday. Some bikes that I got for free, and they sold for $160. Yeah, so I ended up delivering them to the person. Yeah.
What was your cost on the bicycles?
$0. They were given to
$0. They were given to you.
Yeah.
Free is good.
Yeah.
Don't say if it's free, it's for me. Well, sometimes. I mean, sometimes you get rid of it, but yeah, it's funny, and I share some personal stuff from my, sometimes on my channel. But I got a neighbor, and I swear he must have thrown out 20 bicycles over the years. He's lived there like 4 years. He's got 7 bicycles out in his yard right now, in winter, summer, fall. I mean, it's the same. I mean, even a cheap bicycle is $75-$100, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he just leaves them out here, and then they get ruined. But that's besides the point. But anyway, so yeah, I bought bicycles before the pandemic, and it's like, oh, I'm going to sell these. It's like they're in my garage. So
here in Vegas, bikes were like hotcakes during the pandemic, and people. I was working at the Wynn Casino, and we would see the whole Las Vegas Strip. Right, it's a pretty big property at the Wynn, Encore in the Wynn side, and the golf course. That whole block is theirs pretty much. And I would see all these like hundreds of bike riders just all together in bunches, and people on skateboards. And I always wish I could do that. And Mikey Bags of Money, a good friend of mine that I met here in Vegas, along with Crystal, who's out here in the chat as well. He's invited me to go with them. They usually go, him and his wife, Super Court. And I want to go there. But yeah, those bikes, I had originally were selling one because I only listed one. I forgot one was in the bed of my trunk, and I have a cover on it. And I replied to the person on Facebook Messenger or whatever, however they message you. And I said, hey, I actually have another bike if you're interested. And he was like, actually, I need one for his girlfriend.
Okay,
and that's how he ended up buying 2. So I'm glad, because that helps me clear up space before it gets hot, and I can let my wife park back in the garage.
Yeah, Crystal says she's learned about that bike trip on the Strip.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's huge, and it looks like a lot of fun, and I want to go there the next time after I get back from Texas for more vacay.
Right. And just as a side note, you just got back from New Orleans, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So why don't you share, since we're having a little chit chat here, why don't you share a little bit about your trip to New Orleans? Did you go to and have fun down there? And
it was a lot of fun. A lot of eating. I drank quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was only one day I didn't drink, and they're notorious for their hurricane drinks. And it was funny because on the way, our Uber or whatever we got to go to the airport, this weasel ended up like falling asleep on the road, and it's about 40 yards out to the traffic light. And he kind of just slows down and he goes over, and I'm looking and I'm like, what is he doing? I look over at my wife and I start smiling, and I see his head nod off. And I was like, you all right? And he was like, yeah, as he looks up, the light now turns red. He was like, yeah, the light's red. So the whole time now I'm talking to him to keep him awake.
You're taking an Uber, so make sure you're safe. And this guy's falling
Yeah.
asleep at the wheel.
So now I'm talking to him to keep him awake to the bus ride. But he's the one that recommended, saying, "Hey, I'm from New Orleans from back in the day, and I really miss the Hurricanes. I don't know if they still have them, but if they do, give them a try." And I did, and they're pretty good. They all make them different, and the food though was amazing. The only thing I didn't try was the gumbo. And before
Okay,
we
and try
left,
to go. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, that's the only thing I didn't try. I just not enough time. The only right before we left, there ended up being a music concert type event from I think Coke. They're
Okay.
advertising their Spark Light or Light Spark type drink, a new drink they got for limited time,
Okay. Okay.
and they had really good artists on there, and we got free tickets, and we are pretty much right in front of the stage, and we got to
Nice.
see that before the Final Four basketball kicked off the next day on our day out. So it was really good, a really good trip. I heard people saying to watch out for like the homeless people, and for me, I've dealt with that for 4 years. So what I've witnessed in Vegas is nothing compared to Louisiana in a good way. Nobody bothered us. The homeless didn't mess with us. I never had anybody look at me sideways, even with the amount of packed people there. We had a really good time, and that's one place I would love to go back to again.
There's a tip from Michelle. She's thinking like a reseller. She said, "Did you sell the hurricane glasses?" Nice tip, Michelle. Because usually you pay a price, right, and then it's like so much for the glass, and I guess they give you a little bit of discount if you get refills or something.
No, these weren't collectors. These were just
they were just serve them there, and they
yeah.
would keep the glasses. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Michelle,
I wanted to thrift, and I didn't thrift over there only because my wife's the one that's organizes everything. Like, hey, we're gonna
okay.
go to this boat show or something. I'm
Gotcha.
like, okay, I'm the okay guy. Like, I'll buy the food.
Honey, I'm
And,
just along for the ride. You do all
yeah,
the planning.
like,
I'm along for the ride.
yeah. I'm that kind of guy, but I had a really good time.
That's good. Somebody has to be the detail person, the organized person, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that was something that was on my bucket list. I don't know if I ever make it, but I don't even drink anymore, so I don't know if I'll go to New Orleans, but I would like to just.
Oh, you don't have to drink. My wife didn't drink very much, but the food was amazing. The people, the service is a little different. People had told us when you go to New Orleans to expect people to work a little slow. And what I witnessed is that the workers weren't slow. They're just so busy with so much people
Right.
that when they got to you, it appears slow. But that's one of those things when you want really good, authentic food, you don't want it rushed. You want it made right and served right. And the people were great regardless. They weren't rude or anything. It was really nice. I love that.
Well, Glenn is down that area, and he loves gumbo, so probably a little spicy for me, but I would definitely try it if I was down there. Yeah, they'll say, when you're in the area, you try whatever. Like people that come to Philadelphia, they all want to try cheesesteaks, right? So they eat them the way you shouldn't eat them with cheese whiz. But anyway, that's besides the point.
So you're saying don't eat it with cheese whiz? I thought cheese whiz was the way to go.
No, no. I use provolone, and then there's a way you're supposed to. I'll give you guys a tip if you want to learn. I mean, Maggie's from the area; she knows. But you're supposed to say the type of cheese you want, and then with or without. With is with onions, fried onions. Without is without fried onions. So I would say provolone with. So I want provolone cheese with fried onions. So, or you would say like whiz with, or whiz without. So anyway, so if you guys ever go to Philadelphia, you know how to order a cheesesteak now.
Yeah, now you got the Philly codes in.
Hey, there's Tom Cruise. Tom, good to see you, my friend.
What's up, Tom Cruise? Been a minute. I haven't seen you in a while.
Been a minute, absolutely. Always good to see you. So yeah, so Maggie loves New Orleans, says she doesn't drink much anymore, so she enjoys New Orleans too. So that is on my list. There you go. There's Maggie. Cheese whiz wit. There you go. Or you just say whiz wit, Maggie. You don't have to say cheese wit because we know it's a cheese. Whiz wit.
Whiz wit.
See,
cool. I never even heard of that. It usually is just like Philly, and people teach you all the way. That reminds me of Chicago. I went there years ago, and I had asked for a hot dog, and the workers behind the counter, they just pointed towards the door, and I look at the door, and they're like,
"Get out." Order right, yeah.
And they're like, "You don't ask for hot dogs. We serve char dogs." And I was like, I literally went back out to the door, came back,
go back in line and order it the right way.
What kind of char dogs you got? And they all laughed, and they're like, "How can I help you?" They're like, "He's not from here. He's not from around these parts."
When in Rome, do as the Romans do, is the saying, right?
Yeah, just don't kill nobody.
There you go. Okay, so a little bit about your reselling business. you sell basically one-offs, right? And one of your specialties or your niches, as I like to say, is apparel or clothing.
Mhm.
So I always like to ask my people if they have any kind of specialties. And is there anything you find like on a regular basis that maybe we should be on the lookout for? The old bolo, be on the lookout for anything
Um,
unusual or
I got into jeans a little after, like, say, t-shirts, jackets,
right?
things like that, apparel. But I started getting into jeans because I realized they sew pretty quick. They roll up really easily to throw inside a padded flat rate envelope. Not all of them need to go inside priority because they're a lot lighter, and they do really well. I probably sell more jeans than anything, but I do look at other things now that I'm a full-time reseller. I've been opening up to glass and learning about the different histories of it, and it's very fascinating. That's one thing I do like about thrifting, is that you're always keeping your mind learning, and that's very healthy. On top of that, electronics, I've been doing very well. And one thing now here in Vegas, because the weather's a lot better, I'm definitely diving into yard sales, garage sales, so that way I could buy more for less rather than going to thrift stores. One of the local thrift stores next to me, their jeans, Levi's, no matter what the condition is, new with tags, missing one leg, missing a crotch, pockets, 19.99 minimum. And I find that to be a little too much. So now, because of me enjoying jeans, I gotta look for something else, and that's kind of always the case. You do really good at something, then you find that it's being taken down somehow, and you got to find another opportunity. And I like that I don't think about those obstacles as boohoo me. What did they do in my jeans? I just go and look for other stuff because there's always things out there. You just,
True.
one, have to have the time for it, and make your smartphone work for you, because it's only as smart as the user. So
There you go. Funny you said that, right? I'm assuming it's Ray and not Dustin.
yeah.
But I was messaging back and forth with Sonny today, and we were both going to the gym. I'm sure Sonny does more working out than I do. I go there just to keep moving, and I tell you guys I have some health issues, and I got the black card membership at Planet Fitness, so I get to use the heated massage,
Yeah.
recliner. So that's real nice. But it's funny, on my music playlist, my Amazon, the song when Apple Bottom Jeans came on. I'm not even going to try to sing it because I'll screw it up. But it's funny. Whenever I hear that song, I always think about selling jeans. So just as a side note, I mean, you do apparel. What kind of men's jeans should we look out for? I mean, I know it's different with women's and men's. And, what's popular, what's not popular. What do you look for when you're out looking for men's jeans?
I look for the thickness more than anything. And the thickness, to me, I'm looking. They're kind of rare to find, but I find them somewhat often, and they're gonna be Japanese jeans, and I usually flip them for around $100 easily. And what you're looking for is a selvage threading sewn on the inside. It's definitely one. And then, of course, Levi's it's one, but there's so much Levi's out there.
Right.
And 511 tactical cargo men's pants used to do really well for me, but now it's so saturated. But I really like finding the 511 tactical shorts or jeans out at the bins for, say, $1, and I know almost guaranteed it's going to sell for $15 to $20 within 2 weeks. And I like things like that. They're pretty consistent because of the brand name, and these are pretty worn jeans too. You just need to make sure they don't have any pretty bad damages. But sometimes you get stuck with those items that get by you that are a little messed up.
Speaking of clothing resellers, there's Beth, reseller Rowboat. Glad you could join us, Beth. Could you just repeat that slowly? I got a little bit of an accent going on there. What was it? Was it Ivy? Could you just repeat what those
The
shorts were?
Japanese jeans,
Yeah.
yeah. You want to look for selvage jeans. To me, those are the money makers. I wouldn't say they're bolo, not really, but they are worth looking for. And it's not the type of bolo that you're never gonna find. You could find
Right.
these jeans. And selvage does really good regardless of what brand it is. And then there's
That's the
another.
type of stitching, though, right? That's not,
Yeah.
not the brand name.
Yeah, it's a type of stitching. But I'm glad you said about branding, because there is a jean out there that is salvaged and it's pretty thick,
Okay.
and it just has like a leather patch, no name on it, and on inside you won't see a name on it. But if you look at the actually listing tag or material, it'll say like UB4020, and
Okay.
it's UB stands for unbranded, so they don't
Oh,
brand the
okay.
outside,
Cool.
and those are easily $45 or more depending on the condition. And those types of jeans, selvage jeans, you really want to look at pants that if they look like they have a color that's coming off of it, like it kind of the watercolors where it kind of runs,
Okay.
those are more than likely indigo jeans, to where you don't want to wash them. People purposely do not wash these selvage jeans because they wear them whoever long they can to have it fit them, and it creases their body to them. So they're kind of unique, kind of, I guess, hobby pants to have. But other than that, I look at everything. I love apparel, t-shirts, and I'll find t-shirts that I know that I'll buy for like t-shirts here now are like $2.99 minimum. You'd be
Okay.
lucky if you find it for less than that. And I don't mind if they sell for $15 to $12 if I'm comfortable with the brand, of course, the condition. And I'll even go against the grain on the what's sold, the comps, because I know what works for me and I know the
Gotcha.
style of what's gonna sell and the condition and how long it's gonna take. And not everything that I get sells right away, but I'm confident that way in apparel, to where now I look at apparel last more than anything because it's easier. So I look at the
Right.
things I'm not familiar with. So now I'm trying to become more, I guess, knowledgeable,
Diversified. And yeah,
full
yeah, right.
circle. Yeah. Which is never
And
going to happen, but it gets easier.
two quick things. I always tell you guys I have ADD, so I got to remember to ask these questions while I'm thinking of it. What was the short? You mentioned some kind of short. I didn't get the name of the brand of
Cargo
short.
shorts. Just I look at just
Just
cargo
cargo
shorts.
shorts in
Yeah.
general. No
Yeah.
particular
I'm
brands
always
or
I'm always on the hunt for the cargo jeans. They're gonna be Polo Ralph Lauren,
right.
and they're not just any Polo Ralph Lauren. They're gonna have some stitching on the back right hip, and it'll say like 1967 or 1976. I can't remember the
Okay.
exact number, but it
Okay.
looks like a kid stitched it, and you're like, oh, somebody ruined these pants. But if you look on the inside, it's probably gonna have some type of surplus military looking style labeling, and those are easy like $60 or more for shorts. If you get the pants, that's probably like $125, and those are used items. I've
Wow.
sold quite a bit of
Wow.
them,
Well,
and those are
you
just
can tell.
little things.
Well, it's reversed. It's reversed on the StreamYard. You can tell I like wearing polo stuff. So, just shouting out Miss Kristen. She's must be watching from the road. She's traveling. She was in told you she was Johnny's chat earlier. Glad you can make and pop in a
Hi,
little bit,
Kristen.
Kristen. Appreciate
Yeah.
you. And you got a little shout out earlier. Sonny said he appreciate you recommending him to join me on the channel. So again, thank you very much. If you see Glenn's question, ever found any red monkey jeans?
No, well, yes, but the ones I found were totally damaged and weren't worth
Okay.
getting. But it was only once, and that was probably like about a year ago.
Okay. And we have Harry Humstone. Thanks, Harry, for joining us. I always appreciate you popping in the chat.
Yeah, I
Harry
love
is a
Harry.
very
That's Uncle Harry.
knowledgeable
I call
reseller.
him Uncle Harry. He calls me
Uncle
nephew.
Harry.
Yeah, he
Well,
calls me
Uncle
nephew.
Harry is kind of sort of in the area that I'm in. Eventually, I want to move to Delaware because it costs a fortune to live in New Jersey. So one of these days, I'm gonna move down by Harry, and we'll be in Delaware. So
Yeah, I was telling him it's probably been about a month ago. I ended up finding a vintage Delaware T-shirt called the Irish Pub, and he was like, "Oh, I'm familiar with that." And on the bottom of the design of this little Irish guy, it was
okay,
like 1982 or 1980s. So it
okay.
was pretty cool. And I just thought, like, I know some people in Delaware, him and Tom,
Tommy, sure,
Tommy.
Tommy.
Yeah,
Yep. I'm surprised Tommy might be lurking in the chat. He hasn't put any comments in yet, but he might be lurking, or maybe he'll catch the replay. So come on down, Adam. We'll have a beer. Well, I don't drink anymore, but I could have a water
a
or
root
an iced
beer,
tea or something with you, Harry.
a root
Appreciate
beer
the
float.
offer. We can maybe go hang out at Delaware Park or something. I haven't been at a racetrack in a long time. I kind of missed that. I'm a $2 better now. For me, it's like a win, place, and show for for $6. Woohoo! A big gambler. So. Okay, so jeans and I guess and you go to the talking about the bins. We had Kristen in the chat talking about the bins last time we had Kristen on. You go to the bins occasionally too, right?
Every now and then, I'm gonna go a lot more when I get back from Texas,
Okay,
and I'm a parrot when it comes to saying this about the bins. It's a great way to stretch a dollar when you're just starting out. If you have the bins available. And
right.
for here, Kristen actually invited me to a challenge with her. And excuse me, I know of two bins here, but I was pretty certain she was going to go to the main one, which is closer to her or the airport on
Right.
that side of Vegas. Because there's one near me or closer to me, and that's like,
You're closer to Summerlin, you said, right? Yeah.
well, that one's gonna be over there towards like Decatur, and I
Okay.
think
Okay.
that's Blue Diamond. More south,
Okay.
complete
Cool.
opposite of me.
Cool.
And
Nice.
the one closest to me is actually really small, really small, and it's always overpacked. And I'm when I told her about that, she was like, "Oh, I'm so glad I didn't go to the other place." And I'm like, "I had a feeling you didn't." And her eyes blew up like, "Oh, but what if I did?" But she didn't. So
Yeah, so we'll talk about a little bit later about your YouTube channel, but you do thrift with me, and again, that's a great way for people to learn, what you picked up, why you picked it up, what you sold it for. So that's always great, and then people learn from that. I mean, people love those type of videos and type of shows. So okay, so we talked about so you pretty much have year round yard sales. You said even in the summertime, it's 100 some degrees, you guys still have yard and garage sales, right?
yeah, so the hotter it gets, there's still gonna be yard sales, but it's gonna be earlier in the morning. I've
Like
gone to
5, 6
garage
o'clock in the morning. It's
like
like
five,
daybreak, right?
6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And if they're posting 5, 6 in the morning, it's like any other place. If you say it's at 7, they're gonna be there
Early
at
bird gets the
6.
worm. Yep.
And these people open up. The money talks. People will
Yeah.
go. And I don't mind when they're busy. I ended up going to a yard sale last year, or when everything opened up, and this gentleman he had all these guns, and I wasn't interested in guns, and I had no intentions of getting them. I was just looking at the photos of what kind of person this guy was and what he may be collecting. So while everybody's looking at guns, I was looking at the apparel, and within
Right.
that I found rodeo stuff, and I ended up coming across quite a bit of jerseys and some vintage ponchos and boots. And so, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, how much you want for this?" And he said, one of those jerseys are $60. And I was like, "Whoa!" And I was like, and he was like,
Whoa.
"Wait, it's a garage sale, it's a yard sale. What's your offer?" And I was like, "I hate to hurt your feelings, but I'll give you $40." And this is just one jersey out of say like 6.
Right.
After he just told me one of them sells for 60, and he was just like, "All right." So he puts his hand out. I give him 40. One of his jerseys sold for $125. I ended up finding out that they're older than what I thought they were and very rare. And they all sold, all but 2 items from that buy sold so far, but they're gonna still keep it at that price.
Yeah, and I seem guys. I apologize. Sometimes I sound like a broken record, but there's a reason. And I always talk about what Sonny's saying. Try to build some kind of rapport with the yard sale people, the garage sale people. I mean, even something simple as just talking about the weather.
Yeah.
I
Hi.
mean,
Hello.
wow, I'm so glad it didn't rain hard last night. Wow, I guess you're really out early. You're setting up everything so early. I'm glad And I never like pop right in. I always kind of like approach slowly. And again, the early bird gets the worm. So I mean, if you show up at 8 o'clock and it starts at 8 o'clock, you're gonna have 5 other resellers that were there by 20 off, quarter off. So I usually try to get there about 20 off, quarter off. And I kind of scope out the area and make sure nobody's going to beat me, and then I'll kind of mosey up. And I said, wait, is it okay if I look while you're setting up? And then I'll make some kind of small talk with them. Again, trying to build some kind of rapport. So if I want a bundle, put a bunch of stuff together at the end. I mean, at least I'm not a jerk. I'm not, And then sometimes I'm honest with them. I'll say, well, I'm looking to buy stuff, for myself. I said, but I don't have great health, and I resell part time. Especially the prices are crazy. And I'll say, yeah. I said, I really, it's for myself, or I wasn't looking for a bargain, or I resell part time. I'm looking to see if I can get something reasonable so that I can make a couple dollars on. And if they say no, they say no. But I mean, I don't know. So I always try to be honest with people, and like I said, try to build some kind of rapport with them.
Yeah, there's a lot of times that I not just greeting them, but if I see they're moving stuff, especially depending on how old
Ask
they
the
are,
help.
I'm like, "Hey, do you need some help?" And I'll grab something and move it. And before you know it, it's just like I've been there the whole time, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're here to buy stuff, not just help me." And I'm like, "Yeah." But
At the show I went to, right like a block from my house. I mean, I went far away to go to one. I went to this one and another one. They were bringing like a tiki bar up from the basement. And I have a bad back, so I wasn't going to mess with it. So one of the guys that was behind me, a reseller, he's like, "Oh, let me help you with that." It's like, "Oh, I know what he's doing. I can't get in there trying to help him with the tiki bar." It's like, but again, so he's trying to build a little rapport with people by helping him with the tiki bar. So yeah, I can't blame the guy. I mean, it's a smart move on his part,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see what else we want to talk about here. I'm going to ask you a little bit, I guess, since you sell like 99% on eBay, we'll talk a little bit about whatnot, but I always like to ask people kind of like what their philosophy is, kind of how they run their eBay store, because I would say the vast majority of my viewers have at least an eBay store. So I want to ask you a little bit about your eBay store and as far as like how you run your store. Do you run sales? You offer sales on your
I
store?
lately I haven't been doing any sales. I've
Okay.
been trying to test some things out to see what works, what doesn't, and that's only because I could afford to.
Hmm.
If I couldn't, then I would be running advertisements and sales at the same time. If I really needed to really push some sales, but I still have to look at if I'm going to make profits. Right now, I've just been. I think this is the third week now. I've been running just promotions,
Promoted all.
the
Okay, that was my next
the
question.
advertisement, and that's at 6%.
So you
And
do 60% across the board for your
yeah,
promoted
just
listings.
6% a bulk. The next week I'm probably gonna do 9% only because I have family coming down from Twin Falls, Idaho, and then we're gonna leave to Texas. So I need to make sure. And this is one thing Julian, the bearded machine, told me or mentioned was that if you're gonna put your store on vacation, to make sure not to send offers before you do that, because it's gonna say somebody could buy something from your offer and it's still gonna count the same way as it would without that change. So you need to make sure
Exactly.
you
Yeah. So
set
you're like,
the vacation time first, and then it's okay to send offers because now it's adjusted. But this time, when I
right.
went in New Orleans, I actually changed my shipping time frame. I changed it to I think 15 days, even though I knew I'd be back in less time than
Mhm.
that.
Right.
And I tend to do that on purpose only because I usually give myself 2 days to when I get home, I pack stuff, take things easily, wash everything, and then
Mhm.
get to listing and dropping stuff off. So people see, whoa, I thought it was going to be another 2 days, and they're happy about it. One of those things when their orders come a little faster, even though they
Again,
waited for about a week because of
again,
vacation.
broken record, Adam. Under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
So again, if you say you have a 2-day handling, you get it out the same day or the next day, and people get stuff early, it's like, wow, this guy got stuff out to me really quickly, or he said it was only good condition. It's in very good condition.
Yeah.
Again, you kind of want to over deliver. I mean, it's just the way that where you're doing brick and mortar, you're doing an online store, whatever. You just try to do a little bit extra. But
Yeah. With
uh,
with with my shipping, regardless, I try to have my items packed or labeled packed shipped that same day. If it's closer to 5, I'll pack and ship an item, but it really won't be dropped off to the following morning. Or if I do a scheduling pickup, I am pretty positive 90% of the time my mailman or woman will be here at 2, and they come up right to the door. They know what I do. They've even offered me their number because of things
wow,
they
that's
have.
unusual.
And
Okay.
if they see the garage door open, they just check on me anyways, even if I didn't schedule something. And it's nice. Again, rapport goes a long way.
Again, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm assuming you take care of them around the holidays. Is that what it is that they kind of go
Yeah,
out of
and
the way
just
to help
talk to
you?
them. I talk to them. I hang out
Okay.
with them while they're packing, and as I'm
You
walking
offer them a
away, they're
bottle of cold water or soda
yeah,
or iced tea or something or anything
yeah,
like that?
yeah, yeah. I my mail lady, who I seen her more than anything, um, our mailbox ended up messing up our home mailbox, the key. It
Right.
wouldn't go in, and my mother-in-law was out there, and
Okay.
she recognized her through me. I said, "Hey, there's a black lady out there. Her name's Warner. She usually comes by. She's really nice, and that's the only one that comes by, only black lady." So my mother-in-law was like, "Hey, are you Warner?" And she was like, "The key doesn't want to work." She was like, "Order a new key." Rather than paying $35, she ordered it herself, and I picked them up. And when she came back, I ended up giving her some of the pralines that we got at one of the
Oh, nice.
plantations. So
Nice.
she was like, "Hey, thanks." And she's in Disneyland this week, so I'm close to them to know about their personal life too. When they leave, hey, I'm not gonna be here next week, and I'm gonna do this for you. And have you done this? It just friends. That's what we are.
Again, guys, build a report. They're important. I mean, a lot of people say that, I have casual carriers. I mean, we have like a regional post office. They don't even dispatch the postal workers from my local post office. They dispatch it from a regional one, which is like 2 miles from here. So it varies. I used to have the same mail carrier for like 10 years. And now it's like I have, 2, 3, 4, and I can tell when it's not the regular casual carrier because
Yeah,
I got 5, 6 pieces of mail in my mailbox. It's not mine, so I'm
yeah,
sure everybody else on the route's getting the wrong mail.
yeah,
So it's nice, and again, build a relationship. It doesn't kill you to maybe get them a gift card, an Amazon gift card, or give them some ice. Would you like a cold bottle of water? Especially with you, it's so hot in the summertime. So would you
yeah.
like
Hey,
a
it's
cold
hot here.
bottle of water here? Yeah, absolutely. So okay, so you're doing, like I said, you're sourcing it and you're running sales, not regularly, but you do best
Mm.
run promotions. What about free shipping, and do you send offers to watchers?
I used to do free shipping, probably for like my first 2.5 years,
Okay,
and then I took it off. I started charging people for it, and I actually got less return requests having shipping, and the customer has to pay shipping returns.
returns
And
right.
even like I just got an order for a blazer, a Ted Baker blazer. Um, that was $95 for the jacket, and then I had $15 shipping because it went
Hmm.
inside the medium flat box. I
Right.
just refunded them the jacket, and the reason for that, I put measurements in my apparel,
Hmm.
and from the sleeves to the chest, the shoulder to shoulder, depending on how valuable the item is, the rib inseam, if there's an inseam, if not, the rib length, um, and if there's just different types of stuff, materials I put in there. So if they complain saying, "Hey, why am I not getting my shipping back?" I have the measurements in there, and I don't always do that. Sometimes I do refund the
Right.
shipping as well, especially if it's my fault. I'll eat it, and that's not a problem for me because I bought it for like 20 bucks. I'm gonna get that money back. They bought it
Right.
right away. It free listings. I'm still gonna make my money, but there's some things that aren't worth even the return. I would just refund them and say, hey, make use of it. I hope you enjoyed it. I apologize. Again, if it's my fault. It all depends on the item and if I could afford to do that. But it's been a lot better having that type of shipping method for myself. And then there was a second question you had that I don't remember what it was.
You send out offers to watchers, right? You do that
Offers,
like on a
yeah,
regular
I
basis.
send out
Yeah.
offers. With the offers lately, I've noticed the past 2-3 months that not very much people go for the offers or even
Okay.
counter offer.
Right.
So there's been a few times lately that I've had people accept the offer and then they reply back soon after saying, "Oh, I thought it was my item that I was selling to you. I didn't know it was your item that you offered me." So I don't know why they would look at
Okay.
something that
So
long
so
on
the
my account.
resellers, and they got screwed
Yeah.
up with. Okay.
Yeah. And they thought, "Oh, that's a good deal." And they're like,
Right.
"Wait, return." I'm like, "You knucklehead, like,
Yeah,
how do you
well,
not know
it
those are
happens.
things?" But
It's,
it
it's
happens.
funny you were talking about jeans, and that's something too. I mean, with jeans, and then if they a lot of times they do an INAD. Well, this has a little stain on it, or this isn't the right color, this, that, and the other. And I put like the disclaimer. Depending upon the monitor or the device you're looking at, the color could vary. Most times they don't fit. So
Yeah.
they're trying to do a workaround. So if you're shipping out something like a padded flat rate envelope, you're upwards of $9 now. So
Mhm.
if it's both ways, you're talking $18. I'm thinking, I don't have $18 of profit built into these jeans. So
Yeah.
sometimes you just got to eat. It's like, all right, well, I shipped it out. Was my cost is eight and change for the shipping, and a buck or two or $3 for the jeans. So I'd rather eat $11 than have it come back and cost me 17, $18 in shipping. Because I'm not going to make that up when I resell. So sometimes I'll just say, keep it, or donate it, or maybe one of your neighbors or your friends or family members could wear it, because sometimes it's not worth getting it back.
Yeah, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's up, Todd?
Okay. Speaking of positive attitudes, I missed Mr. Todd, the flipping hustler, in the house.
Yeah, if y'all Christian, he had all your relatives being recorded in his YouTube short. If you didn't see it, whole bunch of little squirrels chasing each other. I thought it was pretty cool, and I thought of Christian with the
he,
squirrels running around.
he had a bunch of residential squirrels instead
Yeah,
of rural squirrels.
Kristen's had a Kristen and Rural Squirrels family reunion.
That's funny. Okay, and I think we kind of discussed this a little bit before, but as like I said, you became a full time reseller the last 7 months or so, and
Mhm.
you were in the military for 10.5 years. You were in the Army, so again, thank
Yeah,
you for your service.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Um, is there anything that you learned in the military that you kind of apply to your reselling business?
Yeah, I don't want to be told what to do necessarily.
Okay,
There was a point where that was me, and I could listen to people, but then I got to a point where I outgrew certain, I guess, levels of being human to where it's like this isn't for me anymore, and I don't feel invincible, which is the main thing that why I got out the military. During my second deployment, somewhere midway where my invincible God protecting me is not there anymore. Not that I don't believe him, no, I just didn't have that force field feeling
Right.
that made me scared. If I go to another deployment, I'm gonna end up something's gonna happen to me, and it's not good. So that's what got me out of the military. And I pray every day. First of all, hope some people didn't take that wrong, but I do pray. I'm
Right.
not very religious, but that's one thing in my head is like, if I feel this way, I'm gonna go with my gut. And my wife ended up asking me like, "How about you go to digital media?" And I had no idea what digital media was, and she broke it down for me. And she was also working as part of the staff, the records at the college she was going to that I ended up applying for.
Right.
And a good thing, again, rapport people. When I turned in my application for school, people were like, "Do you even know what to do?" And I was like, let me see if this works. Yeah, my wife Carla, she works in here, and she said they're like, "Oh, why didn't you just say that? We'll take care of this." So they took care of everything for it. So I got really lucky.
So you took advantage of the VA, and you were able to get your
Yeah,
education paid for,
yeah,
which is nice. But you had an insider. Your wife kind of and
yeah,
the hospital, the college kind of helped with the
yeah,
paperwork, so to speak.
yeah.
So okay, cool. That's great. So and I guess you probably learned discipline too, right? And the military is all about discipline. You learn discipline,
Discipline to me, you can learn it from people, but
right?
you have to use it towards what you want for yourself.
Right.
It ends up having to be where what you're doing for yourself. You use other people's things that they're doing, whether it's a good thing, then you don't want that bad. I mean, you want to be the same way. If it's a bad thing, then you shouldn't be that way either until it starts being your own type of definition and no longer somebody else. Now it's what you're doing for yourself. You got
Right.
to use it and move forward. So it transitions like everything else. The feelings and definitions of why I resell, why I do the things I do and wake up, it changes pretty much on a daily basis for the why. Why am I
Okay.
doing this? Why am I doing that?
Right. Okay. And again, I kind of put this as the theme of the show, so I always try to come up with like a theme for our shows, guys. And
Family
it's basically
first.
a general reselling chat. But I always have a pre-chat with my guests, and Sonny and I were talking about what is he passionate about and what's important to him. And he said it's really important to prioritize sending time for his wife. And
Yeah.
some of you have children and husbands and wives or whatnot. So what are your thoughts concerning that about setting priorities and making sure that you
So
spend that time with your family?
when I started reselling, and this was being me part time, and I ended up getting a job soon after I started reselling, to where the money I was bringing in, I was like, okay, this is helping us financially, and we're not stressing about finances. And for me, that was a sacrifice at first. And not until probably a year or two later, I started realizing like that's not a valid sacrifice because we're no
Right.
longer in those financial situations. A lot of things changed. And not to say I didn't need to work as hard, it's just that I didn't
Right.
need to be applying myself towards reselling first and then putting my wife second. And I know that sounds horrible, but those are the sacrifices people make, just of one of many of a million reasons why people say they're sacrificing family being second to get to where they want to be, to have them be first. And as I said it one time, either in a live chat or talking to somebody, I was like, wait, I'm not struggling like that anymore. Why am I saying that? And I think it was just a habit. So I started looking at that, and it took a little while to get out of my routine of, hey, when I get home, I'm going to do reselling, because you want
Right.
to get straight to it. You want to pack items. You don't want the so-called, like late shipping.
Right.
And it was more of like I was thinking too much into it, and then I slowly got away from that to where now it's like we really do communicate a lot more. Hey, babe, I have a live with Adam tomorrow. At this time I'm going to be on. The few minutes before, estimate how long we should take, and I'm learning, me personally, how to communicate more with my wife than anything. Even though we've been together 12 years together and married 11, and our 12-year anniversary would be May 2nd. But a lot of
Happy
just
anniversary.
just growing up. Yeah, I'm growing up, and no matter how old you get, you still learn, what to do, what not to do, and how to manage things better.
Well, a perfect example was you and I had a chatting back and forth on Instagram, and you and your wife were going to the gym to work out together. So you were kind of
Yeah.
spending family time with your wife at the gym.
Yeah, and with the gym too, like I used to be the type, like I want to go do my own workout, but I'm looking at what I'm not doing and she's doing it, and I'm saying, you know what, I'm sure she would want me beside her. And if
Right.
anything, sometimes there's jerks at the gym or people. I'm
Sure.
very protective, of
Yeah.
friends and family. So it's like, okay, once that pops in my head, I'm gonna go be next to her.
So if you're
And
working
not
out
that
next to your wife and like
yeah,
anybody's like, getting on tour or whatever, it's like,
yeah,
hey, this is my wife. It's like,
yeah. Not that I'm looking for trouble, and
no, I
it's really
understand. I
nice,
understand.
yeah. But I those things pop in my head, then I'm all over it
Well, that's
to
one
look
thing nice
out.
about Planet Fitness. We got a bunch of TVs, so I look at the TVs. I don't want everybody to accuse me of looking at. No, I'm not looking at you. I'm not looking at anybody. I'm looking at the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need that problem. But yeah, so you set aside time like family time, and like you
Mhm.
said, you go with your wife to the gym, and I'm sure you said you went out and you had some island food earlier with your wife, and
Yeah, we went out right afterwards. She was like, "Babe, you want some of that food?" And I'm like, "What food?" She was like, "That food." I was like, "I don't know what that food
what
is."
that food is. What am
That's
I,
the kind of
mind reader?
conversation she has with me. And she was like, "The Hawaiian food." And I was like,
Right.
"Okay, where?" Because there's like 4 spots we go to. She was like, "The one we went to last time." And I'm like, "Oh my god, girl! Like, show me an Instagram photo or something." And she was
Right.
like, "The one with the poke." And I was like, "Oh, spicy poke." I was like, "Oh yeah, we could go over there." And it was her car. It's her car we're
Okay.
in. It was her
Okay.
gas.
Right.
So I was like, "Yeah, I got no problem in it. We're not in my truck, so I'll drive." But it was funny because, side note, before we took off to the gym, she must have had this plan because she said, "Hey, I didn't bring my wallet. Do you have your wallet?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just thinking my driver's license." And then when we drove over there, I was like, "Oh, now
Now
I
I
know
know why
why."
she would know if I have my
Yeah,
wallet.
but it was worth it.
Okay, guys. One of the hot categories in reselling now is whatnot. So
Yeah,
Sonny just recently got approved for whatnot. Why don't you tell us
yeah.
a little bit about whatnot and what your philosophy is and what you're trying to do with whatnot?
So
Tell us a
I'm
little bit about whatnot is, I guess, in general, for those who don't know
okay.
what whatnot is.
I'll tell you what I know, but I'm sure people have better
Mhm.
wording and definitions for
Guys, if
things.
you
But
guys in the chat too, if you want to comment about whatnot, pop it
yeah,
in
if
the
you're on
chat or pop
Whatnot
it
or
in
thinking
the
about it,
after the video
put it in
post,
the chat.
your
Yeah, and
thoughts.
also those in the chat, if you resell, make sure to check out my channel and leave a comment. You don't have to subscribe, but if you leave a comment, it helps me check out your channel too. I do look at the comments, try to follow other people. It's unlimited. You could follow as much people as you want on YouTube. And if you don't like what I do, then don't follow it. But I hope what I say does help you and how to look at things and just be more positive on a side note. But um, Adam, what was the question again?
About whatnot, your
Whatnot.
thoughts of
Okay.
whatnot, how
So
you're going to approach whatnot, any ideas what you're going to sell on whatnot, just a
so
little general idea about whatnot.
I there's different categories to sign up for, and I signed up for vintage and thrifts. So that's like a combinations of anything you buy at the thrift. Kind of randomness is just better
Okay.
wording, I guess. But even though I applied into that category, I could sell anything in any other category. And I applied maybe a month ago, if that. I ended up getting an email saying, "Hey, you've been approved. You need to now ask if you could partake in a walkthrough." So, well, let me take a step back. So when I applied, they said they ask you for your account, if YouTube, Instagram, anything.
Some
They
kind of
want to
social
see if
media,
you
something
have
that
numbers. It's a numbers game like anything else. So they also recommended if you make a video to say, "Hey, I'm on Whatnot, come follow me," this type stuff. I purposely did not make a video because I was hoping what I'm doing on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, that the numbers show for themselves without me having to make a video. I just
right.
wanted to see if that would work. And it sounds a little crazy for some people because they'll do everything they possibly can. I just thought my own way. So
So
after
they
about a month,
let me interrupt for 1 second. They
yeah,
want you to do a video.
yeah, sometimes they'll ask if you could do a video.
Okay.
It's not
Is
required,
this
but it
like a
is
like an
recommended.
introduction to yourself, like why you feel you'll be valuable to them? What is the video about?
Some people would do, "Hey, I'm on Whatnot. I'm trying to go." If let them know in the comments on Instagram because they'll go and check up on it,
Okay.
and they'll look at it and say, "Oh, there's people replying back to his video or hers because there are females on there." And I ended up not doing that and still got approved. And then they said, "Hey, next thing we're gonna do is a walkthrough in a few days." So I ended up having this walkthrough, and it's like this: just being online. You have, say, Adam talking with, I think there was like around 50 other people inside this Zoom conference type
Yeah,
thing.
I think that's what Christian's talking about. She's on her phone. Obviously, she said Donnie instead of Sonny. I got the fat finger, so I make mistakes all the time
Yeah,
on my
me too.
phone. I'm just teasing you, Kristen. She says, "Have you been on board yet?" Is that
Yeah.
kind of what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a terminology of
Okay. Okay.
the people that are going in there. Either it's onboarding or walkthroughs. Mine was worded as a walkthrough, and they just pretty much do like a PowerPoint slide, and it's very easy to listen to. You don't have to do much. They're just telling you what to do next. And what I
Okay.
like about that interview or that walkthrough is that Juliet, the person that was giving us this presentation, she said, "Hey, here's my email address. I'm your go-to. So when you
Oh, nice.
have
So you have a
questions or
contact. That's
concerns,
great. That's
yeah,
great.
it's not like going on
Yeah, like you're
you
dealing
have
with
questions on a
Amazon or something.
site and
Yeah.
it can go to
Yeah.
anybody. Yeah, they're your go-to, and they also resell
Great.
themselves. So they know firsthand as a seller.
Because they're
And
kind of like ambassadors. Okay.
but they're actually employees
They're
of
actually
the
employees. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So they run it and they look at things and they're making improvements as they go. And I thought that was really awesome just to have that. If you have any questions, it probably takes some time like anybody else. You could imagine dealing with 50 people. It's some people just have way too much questions and not just looking at itself. But what I want to do on Whatnot, a table right here, you could kind of see part of it. I started setting up and how it would look on my phone. I look at Cernox, Tim over the years, old school flips. Who's another one? NC Picker, Cincinnati Picker,
Right.
retail arbitrage. That's Carrie. I'm looking at all these other people as well, that I'm trying to learn from them because
Learn
they
from
give
that. Right.
information on Whatnot too, how they talk and direct people to look at the store and look at items, and that's a big plus. And not Whatnot wasn't a thing for me to I wasn't looking at getting into it at first. I was just supporting people and buying things. And
Right.
it's super easy to buy stuff and you could come across great deals for items very, very cheap, especially newer sellers that are on there that are
Right.
trying to build their platform. Just like your eBay, people tell you,
Gotcha.
sell these small
So they might
bread and
sell in
butter
bulk
items.
and then try to
Yeah,
right
and build your
really
reviews
quickly.
up. Yeah.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
it's kind of the same
Yeah, kind of like
concept.
exactly when you get exactly when you get
Yeah.
feedback on eBay, you list inexpensive things trying to get feedback, where you buy
Yeah.
things as well with eBay.
I think one of the big game changers for me on Whatnot, as a seller and as a customer too, is that say if you buy an item, say you buy a hat and the shipping's $4. The
Right.
second item you buy from that seller during that live, it's only $1 additional for the shipping cost of that second item.
Right.
And for every other item after that. So it's a great way rather than like on eBay, you're gonna have people say, "Hey, I bought multiple stuff. Can you give me a discount off of this?" It's just $1 on there, and they if it's cost more shipping than whatever the amount they buy, Whatnot supposedly, according to Juliet, said is going to cover it.
Yeah, I was
So
curious about that. I had heard about that. I wasn't
yeah,
exactly sure how that works. Did they pick up the extra shipping? I mean,
that's what she had said on the
okay.
live of what I had to
Nothing,
walk
nothing
through.
costs $1 to ship. I mean, again, if you're having add-ons, you can put it
Yeah.
together with the other item. But
So it's a plus to buy more, especially when you come across good deals. I've seen some items sell for a lot, and I've seen some items sell for dirt cheap, and it's just the way it is. That's one thing I realized right away is that as a reseller and Whatnot, you do have to afford to lose a little to build your clientele up.
right, you got to kind of build up your
Yeah.
following, so to speak.
So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at.
Okay.
I'm setting up my Whatnot on my phone. I'm trying to see if I could do it through my
And that
computer. So that way,
I was asking you have to do it through a phone or some kind of mobile device, right? Like a tablet or
yes
something,
and
right?
no. So
Yes
I
or no?
brought up NC
Okay.
Dave earlier, NC Picker, right?
Right.
He has a Mac computer with the M1 chip, I
Okay.
believe is what he said in his video. And you could have the app run on the computer itself. So that way you're not on
Oh,
your
you can run
phone.
the app. Well, okay, nice.
Right.
Okay.
But
That's on a Mac
unique.
computer. I don't know if you can do it on a PC. I mean, I don't really know what, and I shouldn't speak.
Yeah, I'm not techie like that, but I thought that was pretty
Right.
cool. And again,
Cool.
that's if you're trying to find answers, again, like go research, go look at people's videos, ask questions. But I've learned a lot just by looking at other videos myself and looking at Whatnot and being a customer myself and just
Right.
supporting them, sharing it on Twitter. I'll go inside these people that I mentioned, majority of like Cernock,
Okay.
who is it? And Tim over the years, I share it on Twitter. Whoever I jump on, I try to share it. My people that are following me are interested and might come across, some items too.
Yeah, Tommy, we mentioned you earlier. We were talking about Delaware with Harry, and eventually I keep telling you guys I'm with the Delaware. God knows when, but anyway, thanks for joining us. And Tommy says they're letting too many people in the whatnot. They're going to ruin it. So
Yeah,
I mean, how long
they
did it take you to
actually,
get approved?
yeah, they've been I think slowing it down recently
Okay,
of who actually comes in looking at it, because they are finding that not everybody is who they say they are,
is a good seller,
and their
right? And
business
right,
models are different, and it's actually like something you don't want on a platform that's just starting. So they are looking at things, and they put out policies often and looking at things quite consistently,
okay,
to where if you're just a bad seller or a customer and ruin it for other people, they are banning you and they are putting you on probations.
okay. Guys, if you have any questions for Sonny, if you can put them in the chat now, put a Q and question marks afterwards. We're fortunate to have Sonny on, and hopefully, maybe further down the line we can have him on again. But in the meantime, while you guys are, if you have any questions, I'm going to do a little promo for myself. Then we'll have Sonny talk about his YouTube channel. But again, guys, as you know, I'm not monetized, so if you're enjoying the channel and getting value from it, please consider helping me offset some of my costs. I would appreciate it. You guys, I have purchased equipment, subscriptions, etc. Buy me coffee, Cash App, and PayPal. And I also have a link to Randy's website, fakesick.com, where you guys can buy candy, coffee, tea, spices, and old-fashioned candy. And Randy is kind enough to pay me a little bit of commission at no cost to you guys. You just put AE after your name when you register on Randy's site. So anyway, I'll let Sonny respond to that, Crystal. But yes, he will be. You're going to be at Vicky's and on Saturday, right?
Yeah, the 16th. Yeah, I'll be there at Katie and Vicky's.
Katie and Vicky's, right?
I was telling Adam about that I was introduced to them because of Crystal Rosie's Closet.
Right.
That's where I met like a handful of other people. And this time there should be a lot more people because the whole pandemic stuff is kind of easing down over here and people being more comfortable getting out. And I need to message them because I want to see if Katie and Vicky would be all right if be running for mayor next time. No, but
No.
I want to see if my brother-in-law could go with me. I'm going to ask Katie and Vicky if it's all right to take him. He is a reseller. He resells stuff.
Right.
He's a part-time reseller out in Twin Falls, Idaho, and he's going to visit this weekend.
Oh, cool. Where are they having the meetup?
At Katie and Vicky's house, their new house.
Oh, right.
So it's somewhere over
there. Oh,
there.
yeah, I saw that. I don't know. God, I wish I had Vicky on my team. Man, she did that move so fast. I was like, holy cow.
They're awesome. They're awesome people, especially in person. They're really cool. I'm glad and I'm thankful for people like Crystal. And I guess me being myself too, a little pat on the back, because if I wasn't the way that I am and learned from the good and the bad, I don't think people would be recommending me, to other people like on your channel, or Tommy likes me enough that he had me on his live, and that was amazing. That was fun. And my dad watched it the other day. He was like, "Hey, mijo, son, I'm looking at Tommy Bernhardt podcast and you're on there." And I'm like, "Oh crap, what did I say about my dad?" Because we used to bump heads. But we're good now. We talk
cool.
pretty consistently. But I had to go back and watch it. I was like, you know what I said is what I said, and I stand by it.
Well, Tommy says you're awesome, so that's a ringing endorsement. Just
Yeah,
want to shout out Dr. Elo, guys. If you want to learn about YouTube and social media, and he's the man to go to. Dr. Elo is great. I actually met him in person when I told you we were pre-chat going up to Albany, and it was kind of a YouTuber kind of conference. And Dr. Elo is the best. He's in Hawaii. I don't even know what time you're from Hawaii, so Dr. Elo is in Hawaii. I don't even know what time it is in Hawaii now, right?
Yeah, I was stationed there in Oahu. I was there from 2006 to 2015. Yeah.
Yep. So Dr. Elo is in Hawaii. God bless him. So
aloha, Dr. Elo.
Aloha. There you go. Appreciate you popping in, Dr. Elo. Okay. Why don't we talk a little bit about your YouTube channel? Tell people what you do, how you do it, and what your channel is about.
Yeah. I'm a reseller. I'm full time now. I think it's been 7 months, and I try to do the best that I can, not just as a reseller. Even though I need to step up to the plate and list more items, be more consistent, plan for my vacation days to have items listed as well during those days that I'm off, that they're just preset and I just published. But on my channel, I try to bring how I am in this life. I bring in how I talk, how I speak, things that I do in life, and mesh it in as a reseller, because I tell people this all the time. We're more than resellers. We're people, and we carry a lot of titles. Some people give us titles. Some of them are true. Some of them aren't. And I just try to enjoy it myself more than anything. And I hope it reflects, because the people that follow me, and I really like that. And I want to be some type of encouragement to say, hey, he's gone through stuff. I'm going through it. Or even if they come towards an obstacle, they have something to say, hey, this guy could get through it. He can too. And make some money. Financial issues were the reason why um, I started reselling. So I wouldn't want anybody feeling the way I did. And although it's inevitable, but there's ways of getting yourself out of stuff, and just have fun more than anything. I hope I'm entertaining as well as somewhat educational to help people and any way they can towards their goals. Because reselling also isn't just I sell an item. You could use it to buy equipment, to start your own clothing brand. You can start your own business. You just have to find a goal for yourself and see opportunities and run with it, rather than saying, hey, nobody wants to hire me. Well, how about you hire yourself and do something for you, and believe in yourself and go for it? And that's how I think of things. And I hope that it inspires to aspire.
Well, like you and I had discussed in the pre-chat, not everything is rainbows and unicorns.
Mhm.
So, and again, you and I both share some personal information, and and we share the wins and the losses. I mean, you can't have a win every time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's funny. We had mentioned talking about Katie and Vicky. I believe they were on Pat D's channel recently, yesterday or the day before. And Pat D's is the big one. He likes baseball analogies, but he says everything can't be a home run. Sometimes you hit the singles and doubles. I was watching the Phillies at the gym today, and they did not hit a lot of doubles or home runs or whatnot. But anyway, he used a baseball analogy. So everything can't be a home run. So you share your experience. Not everything's a winner. I mean, and you like you said, on your channel, you share the pluses, the minuses, the wins, and the fails as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of lives on Thursdays.
Okay.
And I call them Thirsty Thursdays, but my recent video, I didn't use that title because I don't want people thinking I'm an alcoholic, even though I do like to consume some beverages every now and then. But I bring people on. Jimmy Old School Flips has been coming on with me quite recently lately, and I like him a lot. A really good guy, and got some news about that tomorrow. I will have another live about this event that's coming to Vegas that Dave's going to run, NC Picker. So
Nice.
that's really fun. It went from Jimmy saying, hey, he's coming over, to now him and his wife. But there's a little twist to that and some other things that's going on. And on top of that, I'm trying to implement more what sold videos, come thrift with me videos, yard sale videos, the things people really like. And it's a reselling video. So anything that's relative to it, I want to bring to the table, but in my own way. And I think that's what has me a little slower than others, is that the things that I want to do, it takes a little time to put it together to get that message across the right way that I see it.
Gotcha. So again, guys, I tell you guys all the time, I share the social media of my guests in the video description. So Sonny's Instagram and his YouTube. I'm not sorry, not your Instagram, your YouTube channel and your whatnot are in the description, because you just wanted me to share your whatnot.
Yeah,
so,
follow it.
Yeah. Any idea when you think you'll be onboarding with the whatnot? Is that in the next few weeks or?
I'm looking at Monday. So Juliet, the so-called mentor, said that the hottest days are like Thursday, Friday, and the weekends. So I'm looking at Monday, Tuesday. Depending on how that goes, I'm looking at Monday being the beginner day, and up until the weekend is like that's advanced. So that's how I'm picturing those days.
It's always a learning curve, like with anything else, right? You start out slowly.
Experience. I have some stuff that I want to set up for presentation, visual wise, that I want to work on, so that way it just looks nicer and more intriguing for people to follow. And also it comes with a lot of talking. And as you could see, I have no problem talking. It's just figuring out on whatnot, how I'm looking at the screen and how that works for me, which isn't much.
Christian keeps calling you Donnie. Are you Donnie, or is she just making? I mean, is she making?
I don't know if it's her personal joke, but I understood. I ain't worried about it.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I'm glad it's with
like
an O and not a U.
Sonny.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So again, if do us a favor, follow Sonny, his YouTube channel, and also if you can follow him on his whatnot, and we all can learn about whatnot. Following Sonny, learn a little bit about whatnot, and hopefully purchase some things from him. And sounds like he's going to have some good deals on whatnot.
Yeah, I'm looking at doing some hats and t-shirts first, and I did apply for vintage and thrift, so I'm going to try to keep that first of
Okay.
some vintage items, but it doesn't mean vintage is expensive. And Tommy mentioned this earlier that he's not the only one. I've heard from another person that I when they say something, I really listen to it.
Hmm.
They do know what they're talking about. Tommy and this other person. I look at stuff like that, and sometimes my wording may be wrong, and I kind of said that the last time, but it is true when you have a platform like Whatnot that's growing, you don't want to just dump items that aren't worth reselling on eBay,
Right.
because the items I have are worth reselling. It's just so much of it that I feel Whatnot would be better and faster, and also clear up space because my wife's kind of been beating me up about it.
Hey,
That's more than
we're
anything.
bringing full circle back to
Yeah,
family again, right? It's all about family, making sure you take care of
yeah,
your family.
yeah,
Okay, guys, I didn't see any questions in the chat. And again, I always say time is your most valuable asset. So I like to thank Sonny or Donnie or whatever we're calling Sonny
yeah.
today for his
However you
time.
remember me and able to subscribe, you do that, my friend.
I want to thank
Friends.
Sonny for his time, and also those of you that are here for the live and watching the replay. If you can, just remember to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, turn notifications on. And if you're kind enough to leave a comment, it helps the channel out. I would greatly appreciate it. Guys, we shall see you again next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. See you then. Thanks, everyone.